Archaeologists have discovered yet another ancient anomaly, which has linked a now lost but once clearly advanced global civilization. Pertaining to a wall relief in Peru belonging to the oldest civilization in the Americas. The wall, although dated to approximately 3,800 years ago, depicts what many now believe is an illustrated narrative of the difficulties they experienced prior to a cataclysm caused by an ancient climate change. 1 meter high and 2.8 meters long, the wall relief was discovered in the seaside archaeological site of Vichama, 110 kilometers north of Peru's capital, Lima. The Vichama site is part of the recently discovered, yet now lost, Corral civilization, also known as Norte Chico. Dated at over 5,000 years ago, this dating alone makes it the oldest civilization known to have dwelled within the Americas, now claimed as purely coincidental. This civilization flourished around the same time as that of the thriving civilization of Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, and also Chinese civilizations. The Corral civilization was located in the Supi Valley, along the north-central coast of Peru. Made of adobe, a clay-like material, the wall seemingly documents climate change, one which could not have been contributed to by human activities. Archaeologist Ruth Shandy, who oversaw the excavations at the site, hypothesized that the serpents within represented a water deity that irrigated the earth and made seeds grow. She believes the relief was likely done towards the end of a drought and famine, that the Corral civilization, among others we have covered in the past, once experienced with other reliefs displaying emaciated humans. Many self-funded archaeologists now believe, like we have postulated, that the discovery reinforces the notion that these early humans were depicting the difficulties they faced due to climate change and a depletion in available water for irrigation, which had a large impact on their agricultural production. The excavation has, to date, unearthed the ruins of 22 buildings in a 25 square hectare space. It would appear that, just like that of the site of Tikal and the now lost plaque which once depicted the dramatic scene of a cataclysm, a great flood, along with erupting volcanoes, with a boat seemingly attempting to escape this event, surrounded by many of the population drowning, a corroborating artifact fortunately photographed before its mysterious disappearance. Was there indeed a great flood? One which seemingly followed a great famine? It would seem the evidence for such an event is mounting, thanks to not only the evidential sediments which once drenched many of the still unexplained ancient sites of the world, but also by its depiction by those who lived through it. It is, indeed, a highly compelling mystery.
The subject of tonight's video, possibly another piece of the puzzle in regards to what these buildings are. Deep beneath the Bosnian pyramid is a mysterious stone, which has become known as K2. This megalith has obviously attracted the team's attention, having done several tests within the area to see what this stone is, and if it is having some form of effect on the surrounding environment. Curiously, what the team have discovered is rather groundbreaking. During certain and initially thought to be random times, they suspect that the stone is doing some kind of terraforming of the atmosphere, with not only extremely high levels of ionization occurring, but somehow an increase in oxygen generated within these lower chambers. We have in a previous video surrounding the new discovery beneath one of the Great Pyramids mentioned the project's convictions regarding the existence of a substantial water system feeding into this underground anomaly. In addition, we mentioned the man-made river along the Bosnian complex and the charging of, or utilization of, this watercourse within their possible past function. However, what the team would discover next may blow the lid off this entire situation, finally revealing that these giant pyramids are indeed somehow integral with the generation of energy, perhaps not generating a reality itself, but somehow attributing to the existing environment. What they realized is that this generation of atmosphere would coincide with minor earthquakes within the area, and with it renowned for regular tremors, sometimes reaching a 6 on the Richter scale. This tectonic activity could somehow be charging or activating whatever is inside the pyramid. With the team at the moment presuming it be caused by K2, could the 8 pillars beneath Khafra, however, in reality be some form of huge tuning forks, using planetary activities to generate energy? Furthermore, another incredible piece of information shared by the investigation, again possibly hinting at the entire structure's makeup, not only within Bosnia but also upon the Giza Plateau. Quote, "Having spent many hundreds of hours in the underground labyrinth beneath Bosnia's Pyramid of the Sun, I have encountered an active earthquake whilst inside the tunnels. While it went on outside, with things falling off shelves and the ground noticeably shaking, I was only made aware of it after I exited the pyramid. Me, along with the entire group, did not notice anything. Not a single stone fell from the ceiling." Sam Osmengich told us, "It is as if, whatever these structures are, they are built to absorb this seismic activity, to somehow charge the air with ionized particles, but also inject it full of oxygen. How is at the moment a complete mystery. But could it point to a possible past function for these giant structures? With all of the research Sam has done, the man-made structure proven to be hidden beneath the ancient sediment, which conveniently hides it from view. Even giving tours of the vast underground labyrinths, there has been a noticeable effort to rubbish his discovery. Perhaps it is not the pyramid the powers that be seemingly have issue with, but the information and discoveries he is sharing in regard to these energy-generating phenomena within his research. What do you think is causing this atmospheric anomaly? Is it K2? Or is the entire structure possibly some form of atmospheric terraformer? It would indeed explain the presence of this activity within the structure. We will endeavor to delve into these anomalies further in an effort to unravel this mystery once and for all. So, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming research into these amazing discoveries and indeed the mystery of our history. It is a journey which we find highly compelling.
Here at Mystery History, we cover the unexplained areas of antiquity, either ignored, avoided, dismissed, or simply given an incomplete or often illogical historical lifeline of existence by mainstream academia, particularly those which we have covered of significant size, quarried from many miles away, now often immovable, and once transported and either erected or placed atop one another seemingly effortlessly. We were, in a past series of investigations, looking into an interesting quarry within the Bosda cave system on the edge of Turkey, a place with particularly good granite and a proven source of stone for numerous megalithic sites many miles around. Later proven by us via the preserved linkages in tool marks to have been used by more than one group, as if they had coalesced at this particular site. Yet, as mentioned, we have long argued that not just one advanced civilization capable of moving and cutting these incredibly monumental megalithic stones have been and gone, and we feel we have and continue to provide sufficient proof of these claims. The Colossi of Memnon, said to have once sang at sunrise, are both made of stones thousands of tons in weight, yet are eroding to dust along with countless others, yet clearly once precisely cut, just like all the other stone ruins we cover worldwide. Yet sites like Petra and the polygonal casing stones found in some most curious of places, such as the pyramids of Egypt, preserving stones in a similar condition to the colossi. Certain stone monuments of gigantic size, found and stored in near-perfect condition, are found in these same areas, as if somehow spared catastrophe. Does this prove a sudden great flood? They regardless, we claim, prove several cycles of activity at stone-cutting creation. Were some monuments submerged and therefore preserved under the sediments, like those secretly removed from the pyramids and Sphinx during initial investigations? Were they attacked by a geological event? The perfect preservation of some of these statues must eliminate sandware as a possibility. The pursuit to the answers to these questions become closer, and we feel highly compelling. Rued Island holds an astonishing ancient secret. Located within the Mediterranean, it is the only inhabited island within Syria and, we believe, was once an awe-inspiring fortress. Having once been protected on all sides, although very little of the wall remains, what is still in existence demonstrates an incredible past civilization's prowess. Like with so many other ancient sites around the world, it was constructed using enormous megalithic blocks, once somehow masterfully placed atop one another. It is unknown whether this wall was created from fear of the seas or possible invaders, but this gigantic wall once enclosed the island completely. Known to the Greeks as Arados, it was renamed Ruad or Aruad by the Templars during the Crusades. How did this ancient civilization complete such structures? There have been numerous individuals of late attempting to explain away many of these enormous megalithic walls and buildings, such as the temples within Baalbek, as mere Roman architecture. However, just like the academics they parrot, they conveniently have no logical idea as to how this was done. Relying solely on modern drawings of these events rather than any form of demonstration. As we have mentioned on many occasions, it would be a logical strategy to not only adopt such awe-inspiring works of architecture as their own, but also to steal techniques these civilizations would have been capable of and claim them as their invention, such as Roman roads, Roman columns, etc. There are many buildings on our Earth that are, we agree, undoubtedly 2,000 years old. Not only are their constructions documented at length, but their condition also reflects this age. However, with ruins such as the Baalbek temples, and indeed the Wall of Ruad, their condition, along with the inexplicable nature of their construction, is not only indicative of lost knowledge, but subsequently evade current explanation. This reality persists no matter how hard some try to explain them away as more modern achievements. Yangshan Quarry, Gornea Shoria, the Pregnant Woman, the Colossi of Menman, the list goes on. All these ancient builds incorporate blocks well into the thousands of tons, with countless more lost to history. How these structures were built is a mystery. Yet, if they were indeed completed by our own more modern ancestors, why is this knowledge lost to the eons? Why did these civilizations not continue these miraculous feats of engineering? Why were these supposed capable civilizations not building impenetrable fortresses to protect their flourishing civilizations from possible invaders using these same techniques? We will continue to argue, and we feel with good reason, that academia, along with many other suspicious individuals, are selling you a fallacy, not only to appear all-knowing, but also to conceal that which they do not understand. Who built the Wall of Ruad, or indeed the many other sites we so often cover? The history of the Earth is yet to be fully unraveled. It is a tale some find highly challenging.